Hey everyone, this is Baron Cinder. Today I'm going to be taking a look at The Punisher on the Sega Genesis. This came out in 1993. It's a port of an arcade game, and it's one of about 10 billion side-scrolling beat-em-ups that came out in the 90s. These things were very abundant. They were kind of dime a dozen. There we go. Seemed like any time there was a movie license or TV license and the game companies didn't know what to do with it, they would kind of just make one of these. I remember Power Rangers, Batman, Spider-Man, Ninja Turtles, Superman, you name it basically. They made a Streets of Rage / Final Fight clone out of it. And some were definitely better than others. I would say this one is actually pretty good. Graphics are pretty nice. Everything looks pretty fluid. The Punisher's got a couple frames of animation for his grimace there. And here I'm actually using a handgun. It's kind of an interesting touch. A lot of these games didn't use guns. They would just have pipes and baseball bats and things like that. I would say that's kind of true to the original character. And here, of course, we have that dubious food sitting out in the middle of the street. The Punisher is a brave man indeed for trying it. The interesting thing about the gunplay in this game is that I don't seem to have any control over it. He just kind of randomly decides to pull the gun out and start shooting, and then holsters it just as quickly. There isn't a button for that or anything. I don't know if he's running out of ammo, or if he just decides to give the enemies a sporting chance or something. So pretty standard controls here. The A button jumps. Oops. No, I'm sorry. The A button punches. The B button jumps. C doesn't seem to do anything. And A and B together result in kind of a spin kick that's handy for when you get surrounded, but it does drain your health. It's kind of a special move. And messing around with this earlier, I swore I threw grenades somehow, but I can't for the life of me figure out how I did it. If I were into doing any kind of editing, I would just pause and look that up or something. But hey, I'm live here, just having fun. I actually have fond memories of playing this at the arcade. I was in Mexico in the 90s. My grandparents retired down there, and my grandfather took me to this mini golf place that had a little arcade, and this was there. And it was actually in Spanish, but of course the language barrier wasn't too difficult in this case. Button mashing knows no language. I think my grandfather even gave it a go. He played as the second player, who was usually Nick Fury, and he did not know what the hell was going on. But it was fun. Good times. And the graphics aren't quite as good, rather, as the arcade version. I think the Punisher is a little bit smaller on the screen. But still, for a Sega Genesis title of the time, this is not bad looking at all. It's kind of comparable to Maximum Carnage. In fact, a lot of the enemies look very similar. And of course, here I've got the cheap boss with the unblockable attacks. The cool thing about bosses in this game is they only have the one life bar. And I just barely escaped by the skin of my teeth there. And as always, I have the sound off, because I don't want to get in any trouble. There is no option to turn off just the music and not the sounds, so I'm erring on the side of caution. Sounds and music aren't bad in this one, you know, nothing to write home about, but they're more than adequate. As I recall, the Punisher does kind of a Tarzan yell when he does a special attack, or when he dies and then comes back on the screen. It's kind of funny. So yeah, aside from the guns, some of the other melee weapons that you get are a little more interesting than what you would see in Final Fight. A little more violent, I guess. Here I have a battle axe. There's a flamethrower a little bit later on. There's just a little bit of blood. Guess they were going for the edgy, noirish feel, like the comic books. And I never actually followed the Punisher comics. I saw a couple of the movies. I saw the 1980s one with Dolph Lundgren. And I saw, I think, the first Thomas Jane one a few years ago. Never read the comics, though. I'm a fan of Max Payne, the games, rather than the movie. And I understand that the first Max Payne pretty much owes its whole storyline to the Punisher. So I guess you could say I'm indirectly a fan. And I've got the gun again. And I put it away again, inexplicably. I don't know what is up with that. There doesn't seem to be a button to control whether I'm shooting or punching. And like so many of these other scrolling beat-em-ups, I can only go so far to the right until it scrolls over like that, which is a shame because you end up with enemies off-screen and power-ups off-screen that you can't pick up. But that is the nature of the beast. These gangsters are well-dressed, I'll give them that. There's the flamethrower. I will take that. Maybe. Yes. Let's burn. It's funny, that burning person animation there reminds me a lot of Street Fighter 2 and Dhalsim uses his flame attack. Probably just a coincidence, but you know, this is made by Capcom too. I remember playing a Punisher game a few years ago on the original Xbox, and all I really remember about that one was that there were some really violent finishing moves for your enemies involving, like, power tools and stuff. Time for justice. I have to write that one down. What's up with these bad guys killing their own people? Okay, so what we have here is a moonwalking robot who has eye lasers, and he kicks you if you're too close. But I think you take less damage from the kicking than the eye lasers. And I could really use those grenades. Just kind of randomly jamming buttons, trying to get it there. Whatever. He's dead. Bosses aren't all that intense in this one. And I'm getting some points here for my leftover time and energy, and the pickups I got, I guess. waterfront. These Final Fight clones do get pretty damn repetitive after a while. And to be fair, most of them are based on arcade games to begin with. And the sole purpose of those is usually to entertain you for a few minutes and to get your quarters. And this does an adequate job of that. You know, I mean, it's something I could play for maybe a half an hour, but not hours on end. In fact, my hand is starting to cramp up a little bit from the button mashing, so I'm probably not going to go for too much longer. This is a palette-swapped clone of the first boss. What was his name? Scully. I like how the enemies have little names on their life bar. I always thought that was kind of funny. In Streets of Rage 2, there were like 4,000 guys named Garcia running around the city. Nice. Come on, Leon. That's a nice little personal touch. You know the name of the person whose ass you're kicking. Oh, there's another Scully, this one wearing a red suit. First time I ever played one of these games was when I rented Streets of Rage 1, the original one, and I was really impressed with it. Then with every clone that I played, I became subsequently less impressed. But still, I guess these have a certain charm to them. I'm not sure why there were so many of these made. I don't know if it was a question of this being like the most that the system was capable of, or if it was just easy and the developers were kind of lazy. But in any case, you can get these games in many flavors and variations. It's a nice car. It's funny, from a certain angle, that guy looks almost like Boba Fett. Must be the gun sticking up and the weird hat, and the olive color scheme. Here I picked up like an M16 or something. With the Uzi and the assault rifle, you don't get a cursor, you just fire in a straight line. So you have to be lined up exactly with your enemies. And on this I actually do have an ammo counter at the bottom left there. Oh, lost my pipe. It's funny, those guys throw their knives at you and they have another one at the ready. Must be handy. Looks like the thing I used to saw tree branches. I kind of miss the arrow that tells you can scroll over. Got some weird albino ninja guys that can shoot sonic waves, and this is like a weird Terminator thing. And he's destructible. First you knock off his head, then you destroy his torso, and then the legs, and I think the legs explode. I did play this for a while before I started rolling the camera here, so this is not my first rodeo. As I said, I don't follow the comics, so I can't say if any of this is from any kind of story arc, or if it's just made up for the game. Yeah, this is making my arms sore. Now I'm inside the warehouse. Weapons don't last very long. You can basically kill one enemy with them and then they wear out. If you compare that to the Splatterhouse video I did a few videos ago, those weapons stay with you until they get knocked out of your hand, basically. Yes, I will take that cooked turkey. Die in your own blood, baby. Oh, this writing. It's freaking Shakespeare. So this guy annoyingly runs you over, and he also has a machine gun. I think he has rockets, too. Again, I could really use those 4 grenades that I supposedly have. That's that. That'd be cool if you could ride that thing. I guess that would be a little too Metal Slug. Bonus stage. Yeah, this is very Street Fighter-esque, except that I have a gun, and I'm controlling the targeting reticle here. I don't know if this was a Capcom thing or what. Okay, well, I think you get the idea, so I'm going to cut it off here. Again, this was The Punisher for the Sega Genesis. It's a port of an arcade game. And as far as beat-em-ups go, it was pretty fun. I think the guns and some of the weapons add kind of an interesting flavor, but it's still pretty standard fare, kind of generic in a way. Anyway, thank you very much for watching.